There we go. There's our intro screen, which I should have had up. But, let me move on. So as you might have figured out, we could not afford Morgan Freeman. So instead, you get me as your host. I'm Todd Alford. I'm the Vice President of Marketing for Valcom. And we have with us today Chad Burdette, who I think a lot of you probably know. Chad's a market product manager here at Valcom, and he's particularly focused on our solutions as they apply to the K through 12 education market. He's going to take you today through the first of really what will essentially be like a mini series of webinars that takes you through the different aspects of the Valcom software ecosystem. Today's going to start with kind of a high level overview of the ecosystem, and then with a deeper focus on VEMASS, which is our enterprise solution software. So I'll turn it over now to Chad. He can introduce himself and we can get things rolling. Chad?
Hello, everyone. As Todd mentioned, my name is Chad Burdette. I'm the K-12 market product manager for Valcom. I know a lot of people that are on this call I've met with in some way or interacted with some way, but for those that haven't met me, welcome. As Todd said, this is our first webinar in a series of webinars we're going to do to inform you guys on the products and solutions that we offer. So for today's agenda, really going to go over the Valcom ecosystem at a 30,000 foot view for the people that are on the call that may be unaware of all the variety of software and endpoint solutions that we offer as a total ecosystem. So I want to go through that. And then really the main topic of today's webinar is to get into VEMASS, what VEMASS is, who's using VEMASS, what's it used for, and then how you guys can get VEMASS if you're an end user, in your facility, or if you're our integration partners, how you go about getting that to deploy to your customers. So kind of to kick it off with the Valcom ecosystem from a 30,000 foot view, the centerpiece of our ecosystem is VEMASS. That is our enterprise management and security software, and then everything kind of builds out from that center of that nucleus out. Another piece of our solution that some on this call probably are not familiar with, it's one of our newer pieces of software we've had for a little bit of time, is our vAlert mobile application. That'll pretty much take everything that we're going to talk about today and put that in the palm of your hand, right? So everything that we do as Valcom in an ecosystem, put that really into the palm of your hand to be able to interact with our ecosystem as a whole. And then, outside of VEMASS, down at that is our site manager software. That is the piece of software that drives and controls everything at a local facility. Some of those particular things that we control are,
sorry.
Yep. Some of those things that we control are audible, visual endpoints. A lot of integrations we do with other systems are done down at that site manager level. So that truly is the piece that controls what goes on at those individual locations, whether they're schools in a school district, whether they're healthcare facilities in a healthcare network. Site manager really controls all those great audible and visual endpoints that Valcom makes, and all the different integrations that we would have down at that local level. So, as you can see here, this is honestly a big 30,000 foot view of what our ecosystem looks like as a whole. And if we go to the next slide, this is it from basically a line level, top level down, right? Just to get a kind of a simplistic view of how things go together, what it looks like. As you see here, you have your VEMASS platform as your enterprise level. As Todd mentioned, that's the piece of software we're going to focus on today. But as part of this series, you have your site manager here and what that would typically look like at a local facility, and all the different things that are underneath that site manager and connected that makes up that local ecosystem there at a school or at a hospital or a commercial industrial facility. And then you also have the VALR over on the right-hand side, right? To take all of these things that you're doing in our ecosystem and truly put it in the palm of your hand. But just want to kind of give you an overview of that. Like I said, today we're focused on VEMASS. As part of this series, we'll do deeper dives into the site manager aspect of our ecosystems and our VALR mobile application as well. We'll get more in detail in each one of those applications as well.
All right, so now we're going to open up our first poll question. So if all goes well, that should start popping up on your screens now. There we go. Yeah, so we're just kind of curious. Some of you are probably familiar with Valcom. We'd like to know how many of the different aspects maybe you've already deployed for some of your clients. So you can vote in real time here. You can select multiple. And looking at what's coming in, many of you are familiar with Site Manager Application Server. About a quarter of you with VEMASS, 30% at VAlert. So there we go, and they're starting to move around a little bit. I'll keep this open for just another 15 seconds or so. We've got 11 responses in thus far.
Don't be shy. We won't call anybody out.
Yeah, we don't actually see, we just see the percents. We don't see the individual votes. So good deal. Okay, so it looks like there's quite a few of you that are already somewhat familiar with the Valcom software suite, and it's great. I still expect that you'll get some new information out of today's session and the future sessions. So hopefully this will still be useful and informative for you. But I'm going to go ahead and close the poll now, and let's get into maybe our first section here. Yeah, just Chad, can you just take us through the overview
Sure.
of VEMASS?
Sure. And Todd, looking at that poll question, that was kind of my expectation, right? That the site manager, formerly the application server, has been around in some variants for a while. So I would expect that to be be the case there. And appreciate you guys doing those poll questions. It helps us guide what we're talking about in not only in this session, but in future sessions to come. So as Todd mentioned, today it's all about VEMASS. So, what is VEMASS? Well, VEMASS is our enterprise management and security software. From an enterprise level, the things that you can do, one of the biggest things that it does is emergency management. It standardizes that emergency protocol and automates that process as well at an enterprise level. So it takes what you would generally do at a single site and really brings it to that enterprise level to be able to standardize and do automation at a much larger scale than just a single location. Another big thing with the solution is the ad hoc alerting that you can do, right? All of us on this call have probably been through some type of emergency situation or been through a scenario where you've practiced, you have your protocols in places, you do drills, but everybody knows that an emergency situation is a fluid situation. So to have the ability to do ad hoc alerting from a platform like this, whether it's down to a single site or multiple sites, is huge. And then also, another big thing on the emergency management side of things is the campus status. A lot of things don't originate at this enterprise level. It originates at those individual locations. This platform gives you that visibility to have that status of that campus up at that enterprise level. So should a school or a healthcare facility put themselves into a lockdown or a hold, this particular VEMASS has the ability to be able to monitor that and notify that particular location went into a particular status. Just day-to-day operation as well. The emergency management side is key, but day-to-day operation, in K-12, one of the big things is, schedules run all the time, right? They want to keep students on time, on schedule throughout the day. Well, if something needs to happen, like an early release or a 2-hour delay, there is a lot of lift behind that to make that happen, not only at a local level, but at a district level to make those things happen. This particular software can automate a lot of that to change change all the bell schedules at all of those schools. Get that announcement out throughout all those schools that you're going to an early release. Do other things in those workflows as part of that day-to-day operation. So it really does truly not only streamline your emergency management, but streamlines your day-to-day operation up at that enterprise level. And then just general communications out. Anything that the district in a school or healthcare network would need to relay out from a enterprise level, this particular solution has the ability, VEMASS has the ability to be able to do those things as well. And then global system health is key as well. These systems are used for life safety. They're used for day-to-day operation. They're used for emergency management, right? So understanding the health of your system, all of your endpoints up and operational is key. VEMASS allows that ability up at that enterprise level. So you take that from a single location and pull that into an enterprise level view of all of your endpoints that are at your facilities, with the ability to not only monitor them, but to perform maintenance to them, troubleshoot to them, and even program those devices from an individual user interface, which is VEMASS.
Really nice. So I'm wondering if maybe you could tell us a little bit about some of the different personnel who might interact with VEMASS on a regular basis or benefit from its capabilities.
Sure. So yeah, I mean, who is VEMASS for, right? I mean, VEMASS is a roles and permission-based system. That is key, right? With the variety of different personas within your organization or district that can use this software platform, it is key that it is roles and permission-based systems. One of the first people that would use the system is safety and security, right? Safety and security is going to want to use this system because it gives them that single user interface to be able to handle those emergency action plans, to be able to get that information out in an emergency. So this is going to be a key platform for them to be able to use in your organizational district. Another one is administration. I mentioned it on the other screen there. Just the day-to-day communications that a lot of districts need to get out, or healthcare facilities need to get out to those locations. Administration will be able to do that from a single user interface out to those multiple locations. IT, in the world we live in now with IP devices and things hanging on network, IT will appreciate having a single user interface to be able to interact with all the Valcom devices and software that are on their network, right? Having that one central place to go in and, like I said before, look at the supervision of our endpoints, go in, do programming on our endpoints and adjustments on our endpoints, and having that in one platform. So this is a key platform for them as well. And then, another one that comes to mind, just as the whole Valcom ecosystem as a whole, is even facilities, has some skin in the game with the VEMASS platform, right? With our whole ecosystem and our endpoints, just adjusting volumes or changing grouping or anything like that, there's no need to roll trucks or do any of those things. We can do all that in software, and you can bring that up to that enterprise level to be able to do that from the VEMASS platform across your entire organization or district.
Great. So you gave us a general idea a couple slides back of some of the things that can be done with VEMASS, but maybe you can give us a bit of a deeper dive on some of those very specific features.
Sure. So let's kind of break it down as the different features broke out, right? The first one is really the features that revolve around alerts and notification. The first one that comes to mind is just having the campus visibility, the visibility of everything that's going on at those local locations. So first and foremost, you want to be able to see all of your locations in a single view. So that's the main thing that gives you that enterprise level visibility.
And just a quick note, Chad, when you say campus, that's terminology within VEMASS, correct?
Correct. Campus is the IP 6000 site manager we spoke of earlier, and the peripherals and things that are underneath those particular locations.
Okay, so campus refers to each individual building, or in this example right here, every dot on there is a campus.
Correct.
Okay, great.
And then, campus alerts, being able to, alert down to those campuses, those locations from the user interface, right? There's a variety of different ways that we'll walk through in doing that, but you have the ability to put individual locations or entire, organizations into a certain state using the campus alert feature. And then a huge feature of it is the status back, right? Like I mentioned before, one of the big things is a lot of times things happen at a location and the district or the network itself or people that monitor, these systems are oblivious to that because it does originate at that location. So having that campus status, the status of what's going on at that individual location is a key feature of what VEMASS does. Automated actions. This is a big one. As you go through and you start looking at emergency action plans and protocols and procedures, you always take into account wherever the emergency's at first. That's always the big thing, right? If you were to put something into a lockdown, it's like, how do I get people, out of harm's way? How do I, enact that protocol and procedure down at that location? Well, this takes it a step further, right? Not only can you take automated actions, and if a lockdown was to occur at a school, you can have the solution be reactionary and put other schools or locations around that facility into a certain state. So, for instance, when you're looking here, it shows that one particular school went into lockdown. With automated actions, VEMASS was totally reactionary and automatically put the surrounding schools into a hold pattern, right? In emergency situations, seconds count, and to be able to automate some of those actions are huge into saving lives and preparing, facilities around that for the ongoing emergency that's going on. Another big thing, like we've talked about it a little bit before, one of the key features is the ad hoc notification features of VEMASS. It's the ability to do things through what we call a quick page function, right? Quick page functions in our system gives you the ability to take a Valcom group or zone, and those could be speakers and text devices, and be able to send ad hoc messages to those particular devices, whether it's just audible, whether it's audible and visual. You have the ability to do this at an enterprise level. And that's huge. So you can go down to one site manager, one campus, or do a whole entire district or a healthcare organization right from this interface. As you noticed here too, as part of that quick page, you can actually pull VAlert channels into this as well. And I know a lot of you aren't familiar with VAlert channels. We'll cover this more in detail as we go through the VAlert webinar as part of this series. But it gives you that on the fly capability to reach areas within individual locations and people on their mobile devices on the fly. So this is a huge feature that it has. Another way you can do ad hoc messaging is through ad hoc cat messages, where you could go in and build predefined messages that you could send out from VEMASS, or you can go in and build partial predefined messages where you fill in the variable yourself and be able to send down to your location or locations from VEMASS. So ad hoc notifications is another key feature of the alerts and notification package of VEMASS. And we can prepare all we want. We can predefine automated actions. This feature here allows you to do on-the-fly geofencing and do things to certain campuses together by geofencing them. So just like we talked about some with the campus alerts or some of those other notifications, you can actually geofence and choose a predefined amount of your campuses or all of your campuses at one time and do these types of alerts for. So it truly does take it from operating like a one-to-one relationship up to one-to-many to be able to target and get notifications and things out to your campuses. You also have the ability to see the actual campus playlist directly in the software itself. For those of you that are familiar with the site manager, we have what's called playlists in that software. And, playlist is a local workflow. If you remember back on that diagram I showed, all those endpoints that are underneath that site manager, all those integrations that are underneath that site manager, controlling things down at that local site, it gives you that visibility of those playlists right in VEMASS. You can just activate them and interact with them individually should you choose to do so. On the system health and maintenance side of things, the biggest thing is, we show, as you see here on the map, we show all of those individual locations, those campuses, but VEMASS has the ability to monitor every one of those endpoints that are underneath at those locations, right? So if a speaker with text units in a classroom somewhere goes offline because somebody's doing maintenance on a network switch, VEMASS will know about it, right? As you see here, you get device details about those particular devices right in the user interface of VEMASS. So what that allows you to do is not only do you get visibility, you have the ability now to go in and see the status of those devices. You go ahead and switch the screen. Yep. So you have supervision of those devices to see that it's down. And then you also have the ability to go in, troubleshoot those devices. You have the address of where those devices are at. You can cycle network ports, but you also have the ability to go into our tool and program those devices, adjust volumes, and even troubleshoot those devices directly from the VEMASS platform. So another great group of key features that VEMASS has that your IT teams, your facility teams will appreciate.
All really good. Really rich feature set. I'm wondering also if you could maybe describe some of the different applications of VEMASS, as they apply to different verticals. A lot of our examples are K through 12 because, we've got a lot of presence there, but how would it look in, some other, markets and applications?
Sure. So, one of the biggest ones is K-12. We found K-12 is one of the largest markets that Valcom serves. And, that's what we do, right? Is serve, K-12. That's our largest market. K-12 uses paging and intercom probably more than any other vertical market out there, right? So some of the things that we do there at that enterprise level is the emergency action plan automation is the big thing, right? Across the country, we run into K-12 schools that have used the I Love You Guys Foundation SRPs, use past K-12 protocols, or they may have, their own set of protocols that they've used for some time. For us, it doesn't matter. We can automate that process and do that at an enterprise level. So they get that constant messaging, those constant protocols and procedures across not only just a single school, but their entire district. We like to mention that I Love You Guys here. We are mission partners with those. That probably is the largest organization out there in K-12 that has a standard response protocols for schools to use. And then we also are a member of Past K-12. But don't fret if you guys are not using those in your K-12 schools. We can automate other emergency action plans as well. And then really calendar schedule control. I mentioned it before. Early releases takes a huge lift to do at a school level to get that notification out to the people that need to hear it, need to see it, the schedules that need to be changed. You can do all that from an enterprise level application VEMASS as well. We're seeing it in healthcare. Same thing, right? I mean, you have rounding tones going on in healthcare facilities. You have visiting hours going on in healthcare facilities. Just visibility of healthcare facilities is a big thing that VEMASS provides. And then anything that would need to go out. I mean, you're starting to hear more emergencies coming up, like child abductions and things like that in healthcare. VEMASS allows that healthcare network to have visibility of those individual sites, right? Those hospitals, those clinics that are out in rural America that they want to have visibility if something was to happen at that location. So the big thing here is just the visibility of those healthcare facilities and the ability to get healthcare network wide alerts down to those locations. And then even in commercial industrial, VEMASS is starting to gain traction. We have a couple customers out there that have main locations across the country, and then they have satellite locations out from that may be nothing more than just a depot for their facilities. They're using VEMASS to be able to have visibility of all those locations as well. A lot of them have standardized emergency procedures and protocols that happen at those individual levels. VEMASS gives them that status to be able to see those particular locations, and if something was to happen there, whether it's a chemical spill or something in the parking lot or a disgruntled worker, you can see what's going on at those locations up at that VEMASS level, right? So it's really in commercial industrial, it's that visibility, it's that interaction they have down at those local levels, and being able to propagate that up into an enterprise level solution like VEMASS. And then it's also in commercial, industrial, and healthcare, it's the visibility of the entire network, right? It's the looking at being able to supervise all of your devices and command and control those devices. That's both key features for VEMASS in both of those vertical markets.
Well, those are good examples. I think maybe now might be a good time for another poll question kind of related to what you just talked about there. So cue that up. And again, that should start showing up on your screens. There we go. And again, you can select multiple. And you might even find you got to scroll down if you want to choose other.
Chad and Todd, while they're taking the poll, we do have a question in the chat.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Okay.
Yeah, we can while we're looking at the results coming in on the chat here, we can answer that question, which is, I'll read it out to you. It says, does VEMASS come with the application server or site manager, or is it a separate purchase? That's a good question.
And we're going to cover that. It can. We've got a section on that here in a minute. I think that will answer your question. But just at a high level answer, it most certainly can come with that. But we'll get into more detail on how you get VEMASS here in just a few minutes.
Okay, good deal. And looking at the poll results, we do have a preponderance of K through 12, but really pretty evenly mixed. All verticals are kind of represented here, so that's good. And we hope that as you listen to this webinar and learn more, you'll start to see, hey, I've used VEMASS over here, but I can use this and really the overall Valcom software solution in more applications and locations and clients than maybe I initially considered. So that's great. I'm going to go ahead and close the poll. And Chad, you walked through a lot of kind of screenshots there and everything and gave a really nice overview, but nothing's like live. I wonder if maybe you could take over and give a bit of a live demo of what we can do. There we go. Let's see. Oh, you're muted now, Chad.
Okay, great. Yep. Can everybody see my system okay? All right. Yep. This is a demo system that I have here set up. What you're viewing here is the VEMASS user interface. This is an actual mock-up of a school district we do out on the West Coast, out in the Rocky Mountain region. What you're seeing here, like I said before, is you have visibility of all of these individual campuses. Here in this instance, this is a school. This could very well be healthcare facilities across a healthcare network, or transportation facilities across commercial industrial customer. But it gives you the visibility of these particular locations. And with roles and permissions, you may have people in this system that may not have the ability, or you want the ability to see all of those locations. You can actually, through the roles and permissions, define what campuses a user has access to. Like I was mentioning before, doing things through campus alerts. It's as simple as clicking on it. You have a send an alerts option. These are just some of the alerts that I have in here. Very easy for me to go in, send an update, send a lockdown notification. As you noticed on my screen, as that's active, you see it actually playing in the background as a triangle there. I got the status back up to VEMASS that actual campus went into a lockdown and it's going on. So there's the campus status that we have. As you see here, this is continuing to play. So at an enterprise level that message is going off at that particular location. And I'll go ahead right here and just go ahead and stop that so we can kind of move past that. But when you look here, notice too that that particular location went into a lockdown. It showed it played. I stopped it. It still shows on this map that hey, something happened at that location. Do you need to do any type of follow-up things or anything like that? And that's where that ad hoc messaging can really come into play. I'll go ahead and just clear this out here. So we kind of start back here. You also have the ability to, if you wanted to, actually go directly down into that location, right? So you can get right down into that software that's at that local location. Should you be doing anything with a graphic image where you might need to do lockdown confirmation or anything that would interact with that graphic, you can go from that enterprise level view right down into that software at that campus level from the VEMASS platform. Another thing to speak about, one of the big things is the automated actions we spoke about earlier. And I'll pull up one here so you guys can see how easy it is to interact with these automated actions here in VEMASS. You guys probably familiar with this screen. This is the screenshot that we showed in the still images in the PowerPoint. This is my live system. Should I need to change or anything on this automated actions or do a new automated actions, it's very easy to go in and say, okay, I want to take these two now and I want to make them part of my outgoing message. It really truly is that simple to add and subtract things from those automated actions to get the automated actions that you want. Other things to show too is one of the big things is the ad hoc messaging capability of the system, right? So you go here. It's great to do things on the fly, but to be able to go in and do things like the quick page, right? To be able to pull those groups directly into the software itself and be able to go in and actually see those groups or zones that are down at that site manager level to be able to correspond with. Click on an emergency, the emergency Valcom group and go in and do a text to speech and a TTS message. TTS is our text to speech engine that enunciates it, right? I can go in here and I can just start typing messages in to send to that location. I can even add in VAlert channels to do that too as well. And then be able to either send it, keep it open as an ad hoc to hit that same route again, one right after the other. So if you have fluid information, to be able to get that out, to be able to send that directly out from here and send down to that location. As you can see here, it gives me the okay that got sent down correctly. I could do that. I could keep sending it, or I could just send and close. So you have that capability as well. Another thing you can do here is if you don't want to do that, you could come in here and you can do any of your ad hoc cap messages you would want to do, right? So you could go into the cap portion of this, predetermine some scenarios that may happen from the district or enterprise level, and either send that as a whole down to that location or multiple locations, or go into where you could just fill in a particular piece of that. So you could just make part of it an ad hoc message and be able to send that down. You have the same functionality here, like you do with the quick page function, where you can send it, leave it open, or send and close it. So, the ad hoc capability of this platform is huge in fluid situations. Another thing that comes to mind is the playlist. Our VEMASS constantly monitors those local locations. These are the two that I actually have, fired up as part of my demo. I can go right in and I can actually see these playlists here. So if they're active down at that location, I can see that here. I can go in and I can actually activate it here. I see it playing here. I know it's playing here because I got this campus status back showing me that it's playing here, right? If I wanted to stop it, I can do it directly from here, right? I have total control of that site manager at this location. At this enterprise level. I'll go ahead and reset this here. Another thing, talking about doing things on the fly, you've got automated actions. You can do things one-to-one in the software. Another great thing is if you need to do something on the fly to multiple ones, you can come up here, you could draw a hexagon, a square, or you could grab a circle, and I could go in here and grab, this many of my campuses, and now it's giving me an option to say, hey, you circled all these, what do you want to do? Right? And I can come right in here and say, oh, okay, I just want to put these into a lockdown, or I want to put these into, early release. Whatever you want to do, it takes that functionality that I've just showed you and take it to that enterprise level to choose multiple locations, multiple sites, and be able to do that same thing down to those locations. So, and I can hit alert all, it's going to say confirm, and these would actually be going off. Right now, this is the only one I have live, so that's the only one showing playing. If these were actually live sites, they all would be showing playing like this one is. I know this one's playing because they're, again, got the status right back up here that, hey, that's going on down at that local level. And then, not only showing you guys the alerting and notification capabilities of this solution, which is extremely powerful, in and of itself, it's the system health that you get behind that as well, right? You have the ability right here to show all of your locations, and keep in mind in system health, we're not just showing you the status of these locations. We're showing you that, hey, all of these devices, whether it's 10 devices or 500 devices and endpoints underneath there, that they're all operational, they're reporting in, we're seeing it, everything's good. If that was to particular go into a certain state or go offline, you can have these color coded to pop up a certain color. It'll actually come up as a status update as well. And then you have visibility of those particular devices right here in the software. So you can come here, you can look at the status of that device and say, oh, okay, it's an endpoint, it's at this particular location, and it's down. So at that point, you have the ability to go in and cycle the port to see what's going on, or look and see maybe one of your IT teams out on remote doing maintenance on network closets or patches on network switches. You also have the ability to go right here and then go directly into the actual software locally there to see what's going on. So you have the ability, not only like I showed you before, going into the site manager side of things, you can get into the programming and troubleshooting directly from this user interface as well. So, it's a very powerful tool. A lot of these other menus here are, how you would set up your CAP templates like I showed before. Automated actions, the automated actions that I did, it's very user friendly. If I want to create a new action, it's create a new action, and I'm just picking, what my incoming campuses are, what my outgoing campuses are, what that looks like as an automated action, and saving that. It truly is that simple to program and interact with the solution.
All right. Should I pull it back over, Chad?
Sure.
All right. I'm not sure how this is actually going to work. So if you stop sharing.
Yep. If you just start sharing, I think it switches automatically, but either way, I'll stop.
That's what I need to figure out. It's one thing we hadn't tested yet. So I think I've got to restart the slideshow, which is fine. Do that. Probably, yeah, it's going to take us back to the beginning. So let me just quickly cycle through here. This will be a quick refresher for all of you. There it goes. We're getting there. Yeah, what I was hoping is next, Chad, you could talk through a little bit about the ways you can license the software and yeah, there we go. License the software and deploy it.
Can you put it in presenter mode?
Oh, I thought I was.
The screen sharing is showing the
yeah, I'm sorry. Let me stop sharing. Let me share hopefully this screen.
There you go. Okay. All right, so we've talked about the features of VEMASS, how it fits in the Valcom ecosystem. So then it really boils down to, okay, how do I get it, and how is the licensing and things broke out, right? Well, we offer you a free version of VEMASS. If you're using Site Manager, you're using the Valcom ecosystem, we offer you a free version of VEMASS at no cost to you. What does that give you, right? It gives you that single user interface that gives you visibility of your campuses. It gives you that, and it gives you that remote campus login capability to log directly into those individual site managers. So you get that free, right? So there's really no worries about getting this deployed. Everybody that uses our ecosystem should have VEMASS as part of their Valcom ecosystem.
There we go.
The alerts package, we break it down into alerts and notification package. If you notice, when I was talking before, I broke that apart kind of in two different sections. So everything that I talked about, alerts, statuses, ad hoc notifications, your playlists, you can get that in the individual package as well. And of course, you get the campus visibility and remote campus login as well. For those that want the health side of things, right? We have that broke out by itself as well, that you get the endpoint supervision, the ability to program and troubleshoot and interact with the endpoints at that enterprise level under this package. And of course, you still get what you get in the free version as well. And then our most popular package is the full package, right? It's everything you get in the free, everything you get in the alerts, and also in the system health, right? It's what we've showed you here today, the full capability of the VEMASS platform. You get that in that full package and licensing for those campuses.
And is there a reason why we make the alerts and system health maintenance package available separately? Like, why wouldn't anybody just always get the full package?
Yep. That's a great question. Sometimes what we see, I mean, we went over the different departments within a district or organization that this software could assist them with day to day in emergencies. So what we run into sometimes is, we'll show it, we'll promote it to safety and security, administration sees it, and then they're like, well, okay, we have two different budgets. How could we handle doing that? So we allow the ability, if you can't do a full package single license, you could break licensing apart where you did the alerts package and the system health and maintenance package totally separate, right? So then those different departments can actually pull the funding out of their budgets to satisfy their pieces of the VEMASS solution themselves. So great question, Tom.
Got it. Yep.
There was a reason we did that.
Okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Nobody wants to pay for some other department's stuff, so that makes sense. Let's see here. Oh, I think we got a little more information here on the deployment side. Yeah.
Yep. Just real quick. I know we want to save time for some questions. Some somebody on here had asked before, how do they get it? We offer VEMASS as a VM. That VM, the customer can deploy that into their network, into their central NOC if they have a VM environment. What we're finding, is a lot of customers want to do that. They want to essentially, manage that software. That's fine. That's great. We encourage that deployment method, but we can also deploy it directly onto the head-end hardware that you guys get when you get the site manager software as well. So if any of you guys are familiar with our platforms, I just threw a few of the part numbers up here of the different varieties of hardware that has the site manager software on it. You can run the VEMASS application and software right directly on those platforms as well.
Good deal. And if any of our folks who are on the webinar today or listen to this later, say, hey, this looks good to me, but I'd like to talk to somebody a little more deeply. Is there anybody, do we have folks locally that they can reach out to, maybe to set up a demo or discuss how this fits their particular application?
Sure, absolutely. We have RSMs across the country. As you guys are seeing here now, this is our territory map. It's broke up into 14 different regions. Within that region, you guys have a team of Valcom people behind our solution to help you. You have your RSMs, which you see here, which are our regional sales managers. Each one of those sales managers has a sales engineer that can assist you guys with not only promoting, doing webinars and demos, but helping design a system, but also through implementation as well, right? That sales engineer plays a vital role in these locations as well. And then behind the people that are on this territory map, you have technical support personnel that are based right here in Roanoke, Virginia, out of our corporate to assist. You have folks like myself that are vertical specific that can help you guys in the different verticals that you sell. But as you guys are looking at deploying this particular product or any Valcom, any part of the Valcom ecosystem, we encourage you to engage that local RSM, and they will pull in the resources needed to see that install, that ecosystem, is installed properly, operational, and it does exactly what that customer is looking and wanting to get out of our solution.
Perfect. All right. So we want to thank everybody for just joining us on this first of our webinars. We're going to open up to some questions now, see if we've got any additional. I at the moment cannot see the chat, so just because of the way my screen sharing is happening right now. So maybe Mary, could you tell us if we've got it? And if you have a question, just type it into the chat window in Teams. Yeah, I can't see the Teams window.
I'm looking at chat. I don't see anything coming in.
Okay, and if you do have a question following, please reach out to us and we'd be happy to answer your questions. Then with that, I will back to my share here. Then what we'd like to do is just give you a little bit of a sneak peek at some of the upcoming webinars we have planned so far. So next month, we're going to take a little bit of a break from the Chad Show. We want to spend a few minutes with all of you on a new family of products that we're releasing under what we're calling Easy IP, really focused on providing an IP-based paging and notification system simplified for those applications that don't need all the amazing bells and whistles like we talked about here today. They just need basic functionality, and maybe they're making that transition from analog to IP and they're intimidated by IP, even though they know that there's great benefits to it. The idea behind Easy IP is to simplify that transition and even allow them to work in a hybrid fashion. And we'll go into much more detail with that. Jonas, who's our product manager for that portfolio, will take you through that and talk about what it comprises and kind of where we're going to take that in the future. Then in April and May, Chad will come back and kind of finish out this series with a really deep dive on Site Manager and everything you can do at that local level on your individual building or campus. And then vAlert, which, as he said, allows you to reach anybody in your organization, whether they're in the building that day or not, puts it in the palm of their hand, both from a receipt and a control side. So we'll talk through that. And then in June, we've got a couple more product releases that we want to talk about. I'm not ready to share too much about those at this point, but hopefully you'll want to join us for that. And we'll give you some new products that we'll be launching in July and adding to our portfolio that I think a lot of you will be really excited about. Okay, and that's it for episode number 1. So again, thanks everybody, and we look forward to seeing you at this same time, same location next month. We'll get the invites out and the promotions out for it within the next few weeks, and we look forward to seeing you then.
Thanks everyone.